friends, Veronica here. For my Talk It Out presentation, I chose to look at this article from Mick. But before we get started, I just wanted to give you the opportunity to create a comfortable space for yourself while you watch my Talk It Out presentation, if that feels right for you, just because I know we're going through a challenging time. You can go grab a blanket, go get your fur baby to hang out with you, or make some hot tea. Just pause the video and I will wait for you to get back. Okay, so now let's get into it. I chose this article from Mick. The New York Times also covered the event I'm talking about, but their article only had 2 paragraphs to it, so they didn't really go in depth. I do, however, like their headline better. Their headline was Trump proclaims Sexual Assault Awareness Month and Late Night thinks it's a joke. Mick's article is headlined Tina Fey slams Donald Trump for declaring Sexual Assault Awareness Month. Okay, so April is Sexual Assault Awareness Month. What does that mean? So annually since 2001, April has been a month where organizations, crisis centers, campuses, and individuals plan events and raise awareness for resources that help with the issue of sexual assaults. The National Sexual Violence Resource Center, or NSVRC, is the coordinator of Sexual Assault Awareness Month, which declared the teal ribbon as the symbol. The NSVRC creates posters to raise awareness and helps connect people with helpful tools and resources. A few of the activities that take place during Sexual Assault Awareness Month are the Day of Action, Denim Day, which raises awareness of the misconceptions of sexual assault, and it was started after the Italian Supreme Court overruled a rape conviction because the woman was wearing skinny jeans and that somehow equaled consent. And there's also a walk titled Walk a Mile in Her Shoes, which is an international men's march to stop rape, sexual assault, and gender violence where they wear like heels. So up until 2009, April was not presidentially declared National Sexual Assault Awareness Month. Obama was the first president to acknowledge April as so in his first term, in the first year of his first term. Annually, up until 2016, he declared April as Sexual Assault Awareness Month every year. During his presidency, Obama was extremely supportive of the LGBTQ community, which as a group is highly affected by sexual assault violence, which we're going to talk about more later in connection to one of the readings. Trump has not shown the same support to the LGBTQ community. Also, as a political icon, Trump has echoed the voice of racial oppression. People of color are another group more likely to be victims of sexual assault. We have all heard the Access Hollywood tape where we hear Trump saying very lewd comments while he was in the so-called privacy of the bus that he was in. So Trump has been accused of sexual misconduct by at least 23 women since the 1980s, whereas Obama has no accusations against him. People are calling Trump's proclamation of April as National Sexual Assault Awareness Month hypocritical and ironic. I would even call it aggravating. Jimmy Kimmel said the president officially declared the month of April to be National Sexual Assault Awareness and Prevention Month. At this point, he's just messing with us. I mean, he might as well declare it National Bankrupt Casino Awareness Month. Tina Fey said earlier tonight in what is surely an April Fool's joke, the president proclaimed that next month will be National Sexual Assault Awareness and Prevention Month. So now we know what he gave up for Lent. So now that I have discussed basically everything that the article said, I'm going to connect it to 2 readings we looked at in class. The first reading from class I would like to relate this article to is the Simply More Than Swiping Left, a critical analysis of toxic masculine performances of Tinder nightmares by Aaron Hesse and Carlos Flores. There are 2 points from this reading that I would like to discuss, which are private versus public, and how those settings allow the enactment of toxic masculinity and the responses to it. Trump's performances of the gender script of toxic masculinity have caused previous discussions during his campaign before he was elected. Trump is someone who is a repeat offender of sending the messages seen on Tinder Nightmares Instagram, but instead of virtually sending them, he was saying them in a private conversation in real life. For example, in the Access Hollywood video, in the privacy of the bus that he was in, Hesse and Flores argue that digital spaces give men the privacy to enact the gender script that encourages them to be sexually aggressive, to value dominance and control, and to position women as inferior. Trump's proclamation of April as Sexual Assault Awareness Month was a public action, much less private than the settings he has spoken contradictory remarks about women in. The second argument from the reading that I want to focus on was how the reactions of women from their cringy Tinder messages were either silence or witty improvisation. So what? Hesse and Flores say that the responses, instead of silence, so the witty improvisation, actually work to challenge masculinity. Witty improvisation questions the legitimacy of the script that the men on Tinder want the girl to play into, and in this case, the witty improvisation from Kimmel and Tina Fey question the legitimacy of the script that Trump has, that he is strongly against sexual assault. This leads me to my first discussion prompt. Obviously, the idea of Sexual Assault Awareness Month is something to be supported. What should the reaction be to someone who has in the past displayed acts of toxic masculinity and has been accused of sexual assault, who wants to unironically proclaim April as National Sexual Assault Awareness Month? Hesse and Flores say the only 2 responses are silence and witty improvisation, calling out the hypocrisy. But I would argue that there is a third: support. Which of these 3 or one of your own is the best response? Looking at the next reading that I would like to relate this article to, it's from Crenshaw in Demarginalizing the Intersection of Race and Sex, a Black feminist critique of anti-discrimination doctrine, feminist theory, and anti-racist policies. We learn from this reading that the amount of oppression you experience increases when you belong to different intersecting groups of oppressed people. According to a document from the CDC titled An Overview of 2010 Findings on Victimization by Sexual Orientation, lesbian, bisexual, and heterosexual women's sexual violence lifetime prevalence rate were double that of lesbian, bisexual, and heterosexual men, which is not surprising. Basically, what that's just saying is men experience more sexual violence than women. But when we look at the rates of some form of sexual violence among lesbian women, gay men, and bisexual women and men compared to heterosexual women and men, we see that there are often 1.5 times to 2 times higher the amount of sexual violence happening in the lifetimes of LGBTQ members. In addition to that, the CDC reports American Indians having a 65% likeliness to be sexually assaulted in their lifetime, multiracial people 59%, Middle Eastern 59%, and Black 53%. We see a huge correlation not only between women being sexually assaulted more than men, but also intersectional people, sexual minorities, and ethnicities being sexually assaulted more. So, in order to fix what Sexual Assault Awareness Month intends to bring justice to, we need to acknowledge the issue of intersectionality here because they are the majority of the victims. That brings me to my second discussion prompt. If you were the planner of an event for Sexual Assault Awareness Month, how would you spread awareness about intersectionality in the movement? In conclusion, we looked at our president who has acted out toxic masculinity and has been accused of sexual assault, proclaiming April as National Sexual Assault Awareness Month, and looked at the improvised witty reactions from late night TV host. The movement behind the month needs to look at the role intersectionality plays in order to see justice. Thank you for watching my presentation, and I hope you have a good day.